In the headlines, President Rodrigo Duterte approves the creation of a peace corridor or a secure space to help fast-track rescue and humanitarian operations for civilians affected by the armed conflict in Marawi City. President Duterte defends his decision to declare martial law in Mindanao, saying the security situation in the region was already in the critical level. The House of Representatives, convening as Committee of the Whole, expresses full support and finds no reason to revoke the martial law proclamation in Mindanao. The bicameral conference committee approves the consolidated version of a bill extending the validity of the driver's license from 3 to 5 years.
This is PTV News. Good evening. I'm Catherine Vital with Richmond Cruz. In the news tonight, rescue and humanitarian operations for civilians affected by the armed conflict in Marawi City are set to be fast-tracked. This will be done through the creation of a peace corridor or a secure space where humanitarian groups can have safe access to trapped, hungry or wounded residents or retrieve dead bodies. Malacanang announced that President Rodrigo Duterte has given the go signal for the creation of the peace corridor, with the MILF actively participating in such task. More of this report from Rocky Ignacio.
The government will implement measures to hasten government assistance for the people of Marawi City who are affected by the continuing military operations against Maute Group and its leader Isnilon Hapilon. In the Mindanao Hour briefing, presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abelda said that President Rodrigo Duterte has approved the establishment of a peace corridor, a venue for government assistance for residents who are still trapped amidst clearing operations by the military in the conflict area. President Duterte issued the directive following his meeting with the government peace panel and MILF leaders.
President Duterte approved the creating of a peace corridor to ensure the safety of the civilians and the delivery of the needed humanitarian aid for the displaced persons in the ongoing armed conflict in Marawi, according to Irene Morada Santiago, chairperson of the government's implementing panel. Santiago, who was designated by President Duterte to oversee the humanitarian efforts, said the establishment of a peace corridor was agreed following the meeting with President Duterte, members of the joint implementing panels, and top officials of the MILF on Monday here.
MILF vowed to cooperate for the establishment of peace corridor. Santiago said that the peace corridor will start to formulate its modalities and boundaries within this week.
She said the implementing panels would utilize existing peace mechanisms, particularly the Joint Coordinating Committees on the Cessation of Hostilities, CCCHS, for the establishment of said corridor. It is a secure space where humanitarian groups may evacuate wounded and trapped civilians and retrieve dead bodies for burial, Santiago said. It is a safe space for goods to reach hungry people in the rural areas whose access to Marawi's markets have been cut off. Both the government and the MILF implementing panels are strongly committed to work as partners in finding creative ways to address the root causes of violent conflict in Mindanao at the soonest possible time, starting with the passage of the Bangsamoro Enabling Law.
At present, more than 900 civilians have been rescued by the government troops in Marawi City. The DSWD has allotted more than 36 million pesos worth of relief assistance for the displaced families.
The Department of Trade and Industry on May 25 enforced a price freeze on basic necessities and prime commodities in Mindanao. Next. Department of Energy implements price freeze on kerosene and LPG until June 7, 2017. Next. The National Power Corporation declared that the operations of power plants in Marawi and Lanao are normal. Next. Department of Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre sent Undersecretary Renante Oseo to Iligan City on 30th of May to oversee the creation of a panel of prosecutors for Maute cases. Next, Department of Education Secretary Leonor Briones postpones opening of classes on the 5th of June 2017 in Marawi and to move it to a later date.
For the Nation, Rocky Ignacio.
The AFP announced that 89 Maute group terrorists have now been killed in fighting with government troops in Marawi City. AFP spokesperson Brigadier General Restituto Padilla also said that the government side lost 21 security forces. 19 civilians have been confirmed killed. Padilla told newsmen that government forces are making very positive progress in the ongoing clearing operations. Again, Rocky Ignacio reports.
8 suspected members of the Maute group are now under the custody of government forces in Marawi City. In the Mindanao Hour briefing, AFP spokesperson Brigadier General Restituto Padilla said that the 8 members surrendered and are now in the custody of Brigadier General Custodio Parcon, commander of the 2nd Marine Brigade and Joint Task Force Tiger.
What we did get is from the unit of General Parcon, there were 8 members holed up in Marawi who surrendered to his forces. And these individuals have been talked to and debriefed and have provided very, very valuable intelligence.
The AFP official also denied reports that a member of the Maute group had attempted to enter Metro Manila.
There were none. We got reports, I got queries as early as 11 past about the arrest of a certain Omar Maute in the airport, which proved negative because the airport authorities, through General Hakaban, who heads the aviation security unit, said there's none. Walang ganung kalansing insidente. At kanina sinabi ko, merong inimbitang tanungin na pangalang yung binanggit ko. At itong taong to ay inimbita ng aviation authorities at saka ng ibang personnel sa airport na nagbabantay, pero pinakawalan din after nagkaroon ng clarification.
Meantime, the AFP is still assessing video of Father Chito Sogano who asked for help. Padilla described the video as alleged part of a propaganda by the terrorist.
Ito ay may laro ng propaganda sa hanay ng kalaban at hindi nga natin batid kung tama yung sinabing mga figura. Isa pa, ayaw natin pasukan muna ito. Bagamat nasabi ko yan, mayroon pong mga ginagawang hakbang sa lugar na para po matiyak ang kanilang safety at kung maaari ay mai-release sila ng maayos. So I'll leave it at that for the moment and that guarantee. And I also refer to you to the comments of some of our bishops who you asked for comments, and they mentioned that it is apparent that the Reverend is speaking in duress, so pressured siya. So that is indicative of many things.
The AFP reported that 90% in the area had been cleared by the government troops and expected that the remaining 10% will be heavily guarded by the enemies. For the Nation, Rocky Ignacio.
As the siege to retake Marawi City from terrorists entered its 2nd week, it is rescue of hostages and not artillery strike that is tops on the military's to-do list. PTV correspondent on assignment Jervis Manahan with the latest haul of liberated civilians, to include a number of women and children and the running body count and wounded on both sides.
More than a week after the clashes started between the armed forces and the terror Maute group, a lot of civilians are still trapped in their homes. This afternoon, a rescue operation was launched. They were able to save 31 residents in critical areas of Marawi. As of now, airstrikes are done continuously to neutralize the Maute. By 3 p.m., we heard a couple of explosions from afar. Marawi City is still a ghost city, and no one is in sight except for armed men and the media. There are also a lot of checkpoints for incoming and outgoing vehicles. Latest data from AFP shows that 22 of our soldiers were killed in service, while more than 80 were wounded. From the PNP, 3 were killed, while 4 were wounded. Close to 1,000 residents have been rescued in various efforts, and a lot are still evacuating to nearby areas. The president has given a deadline: wash out Maute by Friday. The AFP says they can. For the Nation, Jervis Manahan.
More than 300 families displaced by the fighting in Marawi City and currently living with relatives in 3 barangays in Iligan City in northern Mindanao have received relief goods from the DSWD. The families consisted of about 2,000 persons. They fled to Barangay Santiago, Bagong Silang, and Ibanga in Iligan City. They received food packs, each containing 5 kilos of rice, assorted canned goods, and coffee from DSWD personnel led by Social Welfare Secretary Judy Tagiwalo. Tagiwalo headed to Mindanao yesterday to check the status of relief operations for families who escaped to nearby provinces to avoid the ongoing military operations to flush out the terrorist Maute group from Marawi City. Members of the House of Representatives today expressed their support to President Rodrigo Duterte's quote, decision to place Mindanao under martial rule. The lower chamber, convening as the Committee of the Whole, approved Resolution 1050 expressing its full support and finding no reason to revoke the martial law proclamation. More details from Marita Moahe.
The House of Representatives, through a viva voce voting or live voice voting, approved House Resolution 1050 expressing their support to the martial law declaration of President Rodrigo Duterte. Through an executive session, the lower house convened as a committee of the whole and tackled the martial law report of the President.
Those who are in favor of House Resolution number 1050, say aye. Aye. Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Some of those who attended to answer the queries from the congressmen were Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, Secretary of Justice Vitaliano Aguirre III, Department of National Defense Chief Delfin Lorenzana, PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa, and National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon. The executive session lasted for almost 5 hours, and according to House rules, nobody could reveal what transpired given the confidential and classified pieces of information taken up that could put government forces at risk. Security Advisor Esperon, meanwhile, said that he has long recommended a martial law to the President, especially when the Davao bombing happened. For now, government troops need only cross 3 bridges, and after that, everything would be easier.
Itong ISIS na to, kaya nating solusyonan kaagad ito. Yung physical na kaguluhan na nangyayari sa Marawi, probably in 1 or 2 weeks, nakasettle na lahat yan. 3 bridges na lang yung ino-overcome, hurdle yun para makapunta ka sa heart of the city. Yan ang talagang gustong tawirin ng ating mga tropa. Pag natapos yun, in a day's time, masisettle ka agad yung problema ng peace, yung order sa Marawi.
Esperon added, more than the ISIS, the problem in Marawi and the entire Mindanao is about development and the need for socio-economic reforms. The House Mindanao Bloc expressed their full support to the President, saying that they are confident the military can do their assigned task. They say in case the President asks for an extension, the Congress then will do their mandate to look into it and vote. Esperon, in ending his interview, asked for prayers and support for the President and the government troops.
Join us in praying for Mindanao. Let's pray for our troops. Let's give them support kasi wala naman silang ibang gusto kundi protektahan ang tao ng Mindanao.
And with this, the House of Representatives adjourned its first regular session. And that is the latest from the Congress. For the nation, Marita Moahe.
President Rodrigo Duterte defended his decision to declare martial law in Mindanao. In a speech at the 119th anniversary celebration of the Philippine Navy held at Sasa Wharf in Davao City, the president said the AFP and PNP informed him that the security situation in Mindanao was already in the critical level, given the practice of violent extremists in Middle East. In a speech, the president also lashed out at the communist rebels for intensifying operations against government forces. He ordered the arrest of members of the communist-led National Democratic Front Peace Panel when they returned home from the Netherlands. The president earlier ordered the cancellation of the 5th round of peace talks. More details from Kirby Cristobal.
I give my salute, my respects to the men and women and the National Police, my salute and my deepest respect. And I grieve with the families, those who have lost their lives.
This was the message of President Rodrigo Duterte after attending the celebration of the 119th anniversary of the Philippine Navy and the commissioning of the Barko ng Republika ng Pilipinas or BRP Davao del Sur in Sasa Wharf, Davao City. President Duterte reiterates that the government will strengthen its forces for its battle against any terrorist group in Marawi, and they are ready to secure the country and the Filipino people. He added that terrorism activity in the country was being funded and fueled by drug money.
There is a strife going on in the Philippines, and I grieve the loss of my soldiers and policemen. It is not easy to read a briefer every day to find out that you're losing a plenty of your best soldiers and the hard-working policemen. As I have warned the country before, that Marawi was the bedrock of the manufacture of illegal chemical called shabu. And there was a time when we declared the state of lawlessness and everything was being watched and raided in central Mindanao.
President Duterte was also thinking to declare the suspension of writ of habeas corpus in Visayas region if the conflict and terrorism will spread beyond Mindanao, adding that government troop was authorized to make arrests in preventing any terrorist violence. He also warned the communist leaders that they will be arrested and put in jail if they attempt to come home. This was after criticizing the decision of President Duterte in putting the entire Mindanao under martial law. Meanwhile, President Duterte congratulates the Marines and sailors for the anniversary today. He promised the government is making its way for more improvements and developments. Additional air assets, jet planes, and other equipments are some he stated.
Congratulate the Philippine Navy for your remarkable contributions in strengthening the foundation. Your efforts to fulfill your mandate to uphold peace and sovereignty in our territorial waters have been remarkable in the past years, and today you have once again reaffirmed your important role as you support the counter-terrorism efforts against the Maote group in Marawi City.
For the Nation, Kirby Cristobal, Davao City.
Senator Panfilo Lacson says a joint congressional session on the martial law declaration in Mindanao may put the lives of soldiers on the line. Lacson was among the senators who voted against the resolution calling for a joint session to discuss President Duterte's declaration of martial law in Mindanao. He noted that 292 congressmen, 22 senators would be asking questions that may be bordering on the tactical movements of the troops. Lacson stressed that it was enough for the Senate to be briefed by national security officials in an executive session to avoid top-secret information from being divulged.
In order to protect the judges and the judicial system from possible threats and acts of violence in Mindanao, the Department of Justice asked the Supreme Court to designate special courts in Luzon and Visayas who will eventually hear the cases to be filed against the members of the Maote group. In his letter dated May 29, 2017, Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre requested Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno to take the necessary and appropriate actions for the protection of the members of the judiciary who will eventually hear the cases to be filed against the members of the Maote group who will be captured or who will surrender. Aguirre said such move is necessary so that justice may run its course without fear or violence and threat thereof. Aguirre met with the prosecutors in Mindanao who aired their issues and concerns in prosecuting cases against members of the local terrorist group in the region.
Some crackers and water. This is the first meal these children are having more than a day with having nothing to eat. They are among dozens of civilians brought to safety at the provincial capital on Wednesday. As intense fighting rages, more residents trapped in the crossfire are rescued. They have been spending the past 8 days hiding, starving but too afraid to come out of their homes. This woman shares she had to muffle the cries of her frightened children for each loud burst of gunfire.
Ay, hindi namin, tinakaka namin yung bungalan nila para hindi makaiyak. O, para walang makarinig. Baka may pumasok sa amin, nakakatayin kami.
Some residents are still emotional when recalling the horrors of their experience. These men, all in their early 20s, are, however, thankful they made it alive. Desperate to flee from Maote fighters barging into homes, they hid by jumping into Lake Lanao. Even if one did not know how to swim, they all stayed afloat for 3 hours until help came.
Hindi, hinahawakan lang namin para makasama namin, para hindi maiwanan. Kami tatlo at andun kami sa ilalim ng tubig. Naghihintay kami hanggang gumabi bago kami pumunta dito. Kung hindi kami nakatago doon sa ilalim, siguro pati kami nabaril nila.
While authorities claim to have taken control of most of Marawi City, rescue missions remain slow and dangerous. At this crucial time, coordination with security agencies is key.
You cannot just go out on your own there and just rescue anybody that you want. You need a proper coordination with the military because first and foremost, you need to make sure that you will bring the person that you're about to rescue to safe area and not endanger both of your lives.
Authorities say emergency rescue teams need to move quickly. Even policemen earlier called in to retrieve cadavers of suspected Maute fighters had to pull back due to fierce fighting. David Santos, CNN Philippines.
The Crisis Management Committee says around 2,000 individuals still need to be rescued in Marawi. Several Marawi city residents told CNN Philippines they saw child combatants with the Maute group. The armed forces, however, say they have not received such reports, but past videos show young males who are trained in Maute camps in Mindanao. The full story from our senior correspondent, Ruth Cabal.
The military recovered this alleged training video by the Maute group in Butiglano del Sur in 2016. Among the trainees, children seen jogging with adults. Several children listening as a man gives instructions. Footages also show children wearing headbands with what appear to be ISIS symbols, some carrying what looks like an ISIS flag. Was this training of young men by Maute in preparation for future attacks? As the Maute group fights government forces in Marawi City, several residents told CNN Philippines they saw firsthand. Some heard stories of what appeared like child combatants with terrorists.
Paano hindi ka matakot, mami? Malilit yung mga nagdadala doon ng baril, mga bata pa.
Mga bata may dalang baril? Pangalawa ka na nagsabi sa akin yan.
Oo, totoo! Mga 10 years old.
Kahit mga bata, meron na rin. May daladalang baril. Tapos sabi niya na...
Bata may dalang baril? Namra Tampi did not see the young fighters, but recalls that sometime in April, his two grandsons, aged 14 and 16, told him that a Maute member approached them.
Meron pa akong apo na dala, re-recruit nila eh. Kinukumbinsi nila yung mga bata na una-una, pag namatay ka, diretso sa langit.
Sabi?
Mga traidor yan, mga Maute na yan.
Dean Julkipli Wadi of the University of the Philippines says enticing young Muslim men to join Maute and other radical groups is considered a way to heaven or to martyrdom. Young men are told they will become part of the jihad, a holy war or struggle, as freedom fighters, both for the group and for the Bangsamoro or Moro nation.
That when you die, you will die as a martyr, and there are 72 huris or virgin waiting for you. So, this is part of their propaganda. Kasi may kasabihan na one nation's terrorist is another nation's freedom fighters.
Wadi adds while Islamic laws protect women and children from the war, radicals adopt extreme measures to achieve their political or military agenda.
Sa Islam, ang age of puberty, mga around 13, 14, 15 years old. No? So, if you have, say, a father or a brother na miyembro ng Maute, you will be enticed to join or you're possibly even forced to join.
Other groups used child soldiers in the past, like the New People's Army, Moro Islamic Liberation Front, and the Abu Sayyaf. A Department of Labor study notes the Abu Sayyaf uses minors as combatants and also as human shields and hostages. The bandits promise young recruits salary, firearms, and even scholarship abroad. CNN Philippines asked the military and the DSWD arm about child combatants reportedly seen with Maute members in Marawi. Both say they have not received such information.